Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's your boy Mr. Bots Office from Mr. Bots Office TV, back with another show for you today. And on the show today, we're going to speak about and discuss the fallout of Morgan Gibbs White rejecting Tottenham Hotspur to stay at Nottingham Forest. And welcome to the show of shows, back from Mr. Bots Office, his playground, where normally you don't see myself on the show for quite a while. But with the news of Morgan Gibbs White staying at Nottingham Forest and leaving Tottenham Hotspur with nothing, and the transfer window that looks really, really disappointing right so far, only with one signing that really, it's honestly, be honest with ourselves, Kudus is a good signing, but has to improve on the season that he had before. And the others have been very underwhelming. It does have a bit of a worrying tone to it at the moment. And I think that's really where the fan base have kind of melted down quite a bit the last 24 to 48 hours, especially after the two friendlies we just had against Wickham and Luton. So we're going to make a discussion about that on the show today as well. Also on the show today, I'm going to go back to why I keep on saying that Tottenham Hotspur do need to be ruthless. And I'm going to include Thomas Frank in that, but obviously the club as a whole have to be ruthless as well. And I'll explain my reasons why, even though I explained it on the last show I did a couple of days ago on Friday. I think there's other evidence of managers doing this previous seasons as well, and the effect that has had on their squads as well. Also on the show today, we're not going to just speak about Morgan Gibbs White and have the meltdown some of the fan base has had, because as you might have known and watched me, if you watched me in my last shows, maybe because I don't clip the shows, people haven't really got that much time to listen to the whole of my what I speak about. But there are other signings that Tottenham Hotspur could be going for, and they've missed out on because we've been looking at Morgan Gibbs White. So that's what we'll also discuss about as well. And also on the show today, we'll discuss other things as well, about other rumours, about other players as well, and the fallout from the friendlies as well, if we get time to speak about that. So, as I say to everybody, if you can, do me a favour, please like and subscribe to the channel. Put your notifications on if I go live. It really does help the channel. It helps me grow, and also maybe even develop things, do things differently as well. So it really does help the channel. But let's get straight into it with the first subject that we need to speak about. And it's Morgan Gibbs White deciding not to go to Tottenham Hotspur and deciding to stay at Nottingham Forest. And I think it was kind of inevitable this was going to happen. Inevitable that in the end, as the saga drew on, it was becoming a situation where you could see it was never going to happen with Morgan Gibbs White. Morgan Gibbs White had already, it was already discussions maybe in the background with Nottingham Forest that he was always going to decide to stay at Nottingham Forest or go to somewhere else possibly. Nottingham Forest were very determined to keep their man, and maybe even more determined not to sell to Tottenham Hotspur. And so when you look at the articles, and I'll bring up one article that was brought up that was shown today, and if I can find it, while I find that, while I look at it, he kind of explains his decision where the owner kind of has persuaded him and shown that that they are looking like they are going to be moving forward in terms of ambition, what they are going to offer him, maybe also the money as well. I don't know the ins and outs of what's kind of happened in that sense. What sort of offer that he was offered in terms of money? It must have been a lot. I think that's from some of the press that has happened, really. But I think in the background, it looks like the chairman of Nottingham Forest, Morgan has just persuaded and shown Morgan Gibbs White some different way, a different way forward with Nottingham Forest, and shown him, and that's impressed him. And he does talk about loyalty as well in his article as well. Now, I'm just going to bring that up right now. Just have to bear with me 2 seconds. And it's from this article here. And if you look down here, he explains his decision from Morgan Gibbs White. And he explains his decision down here, where he says, and I'm just trying to find it now. Here, just bear with me a sec, folks. He says, I felt at home at Forest, and from the moment I arrived, the support from the fans and my teammates and everyone around the club has been unbelievable. I believe in what we're building here. And with the backing of the owner, Mr. Marinakis, and the enormous ambition he has, I want to be a part of making something special. I'm excited for what's to come. Forest owner, so for Forest owner, and then he carries on like this. He says, "I promise our fans." This is the owner here. So I'm just literally reading this off from the page here. So this is the owner here. He says there are significant interest in the various clubs, but we are determined to build a future around Morgan at the heart of it. I promised our fans we not only compete, but to grow stronger and stronger every season. Today is another big step in that journey. So, as you see there, as I try and sort of share screen here, you see, obviously Marinakis has worked in the background. Now, I wouldn't be surprised that there's possibly a couple of scenarios here at play here. It might be a case of there might have been a gentleman's agreement that he might, if he does well next season and Forest are not anywhere near the ambition what Morgan Gibbs White wants, he might have a gentleman's agreement or something like that he might say to if they don't do well, that he could go next season, next summer, possibly, maybe to a bigger club. Unfortunately, maybe not Spurs, possibly. So that might be at play there. There might have been a negotiation there, maybe, possibly. It might be the fact that they might try and bring in some more players, because they obviously have taken some good money for the player that went to Newcastle, which is just completely Alanga. So it'd be interesting to see who they bring in as well. Even though they're in, I think, Conference League this season, which I think there's still rumblings that they could get into Europa League because of the exile of Crystal Palace. So there is a lot that. So there could be a couple of scenarios here. There could be a couple of scenarios here and at play here, which is interesting. When you look at the Tottenham side of things, I think Tottenham Hotspur have really not done themselves a favour here, where in the past this is where I think we are very, very weak with the fact that we haven't got proper director of football, a ruthless director of football that knows what he's doing. You know, they've got a plan. They've got other plans to go, other players. They don't haggle on some, just on one player. And because, it has been very clear from the very outset since we made that bid, which really, to be honest with you, like I said, I'm not having a meltdown here. I don't even care, to be honest with you. I couldn't care less, to be honest with you. Big up to people that have just come in, by the way. Big up to you, because this is just off the cuff. This channel. Big up to you, by the way. Big up to Ghosted. Big up to Super Tottenham TV. Big up to you. Big up to Rich S Man. Big up to you. Big up to Rich C. Big up to you. And yeah, big up to everybody. Big up to everybody who's watching. Big up to all 23 of you that are watching. Big up to you. It's really appreciated. Please do me a favor and like and subscribe to the channel. Big up to you. Big up to Kate Ritson as well. Big up to you. Big up to you. It's really appreciated. Even though I'm ruthless as Mr. Box Office, as you well know, it's really, really appreciated when people are watching and listening to me talk and giving me the time of day. It really is appreciated. That's all I ask. Whether you agree with me or disagree with me, that's what it's all about at the end of the day. But this is why I do my show on my own, because it gives you the opportunity to ask me these questions without me getting interrupted. So it really is really appreciated. Big up to you, Lynn Simpson, as well. Big up to you. Morgan Gibbs White wouldn't sign a contract because he wanted a bigger salary, and so his agent played Spurs against Forest to get the package Morgan Gibbs White wanted. Now both Forest has Morgan's release clause, and Morgan Gibbs White has more. Yeah, I think that could be at play as well. And I think that's where. I think that's what's happening in the background, to be honest with you. But just to go on to what I say, right? And I will come back to the chat in a bit. But big up to Booniverse as well, the Booniverse as well. Big up to you. Big up to you all. I think what problem is at play here, and this is where I'm not so fussed with Thomas Frank. Nothing against Thomas Frank. But this is where Tottenham Hotspur are very weak. And this is where you can see what Chelsea are being like at the moment with their structure. You don't see the problem with Brighton getting players in, right? Because they've got a good structure around them. They've got a good director of football. They know they've got the structure in place where if they do miss out on a player, they can go and get another one. They can go and look at another one, look at another profile player that, they've been looking at all the time. I think the director of football and the hierarchy there, and this is where I think Vinay will see. It's going to be interesting to see how it works with Vinay over the next couple of years, if he's here in the next couple of years. I think that's been a problem, massive problem, because that's not been stable. If you look at the last how many years under this ownership, we've been trying to do this director of football for so long now. And then the coaches set up so long now that's been the massive problem. It's not been the coaches being stable and then making the decision. It's the hierarchy, and that's why Daniel Levy's been making the decisions, the football wise, and that's why it's been so badly run, so badly done, and the transfers have been so bad. I don't need to really. I don't need to really I can put an example out there because there is a good example out there. And if I can just bear me 2 seconds, like I say, I'm doing this off the cuff, guys. So you're going to have to bear me big time. You have to bear me big time on this. But if you put an example out there with the striking options that we have at the moment and the striking options that we've looked at in the past, and bought in the past, it's been absolutely ridiculous, and I think that's because we've not had a structure in place where we're looking for certain strikers. We've looked for certain strikers that the coaches want specifically, and unfortunately, those striking options have not been good enough, and I think that's also because of the clubs, the clubs, the club and the way that we do business, and looking at certain profile players, and concentrates on the profile player that we're looking at. It's not helped us in the future. I mean, look at the strikers. And if I could, I wish I could put this up, but I haven't done it quick enough, unfortunately. Maybe I should have done this before. If you look at the strikers, and I think it's going around on social media. In the past, we've got in Vincent Janssen. Look how bad that worked out for us. Lucas Moura, he was all right. He's been okay. Clinton and G. Look how that worked out for us. Brian Gill. And that one, Brian Gill was bad. Was bad. Because the reason why it was bad, we let go of Lamella for him. That was the bad one. And it was we were shortchanged massively on that one, because I want Lamella to go. I thought Lamella was just I've had enough of him. But I regretted it afterwards. It's like the whole Højbjerg situation when he left. I realised when he left, and then we didn't buy in somebody that was better than Højbjerg, I realised, oh, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? And that was the same thing with Lamella. I remember it so vividly. I was thinking, what are we doing here? We sold Lamella. He's actually looking better at the club that he was. I think it was at Seville. And, you know, Brian Gill comes in, and it just looked terrible. It looked absolutely awful. And this is where people say to me, oh, you're negative or this or that, you're this, and oh, you need to be logical and all that. And I sit there and say, why can I be logical? Why should I be excited when I see the same bloody thing every single time? I should put a pat on my back right now every single time. I'm very calm about these situations now, because it's similar situations I see every single time in the transfer window with Tottenham. So why should I get excited? You see, this is the thing. It's like, well, people tell me I need to be excited. How can I be excited if someone's telling me to be excited when I'm organically can't get excited, because every single time I get disappointed every single time? And this is a similar situation with Morgan Gibbs White. Yeah, when we got the here we go from Fabrizio Romano, my eyebrows are like this. But then I was like, okay, let's see what happens. Yeah, this is impressive. Yeah, even though, let's be honest here, in the last couple of years, we have paid out 60 million for Solanke and Richarlison, and look how that's worked out for us. I'm not saying that Morgan Gibbs White would have been that sort of player, no, but we have done it in the last how many years? You know what I mean? It's not you can't forget about that, can you? But it's when people say to me, oh, I need to be excited, or you're being negative and all this, and oh, you just need to be excited. It's like, well, no, I need to see it. I need to see it as a Tottenham fan. I need to see it. That's the only way you can be excited and not get disappointed and just being realistic. But this is the thing. It's situations like this. And like, as it was the first couple of days, I was like, are we going on about this? And then people kept on bringing on Wolfie, and I was like, oh, why are we listening to this guy every single minute? It's like, yeah, great. You're not rattling me, mate, because man, I'm not that guy. I'm not that guy. You're trying everything that I do. You're doing all the tactics I do. Nothing against the guy, but I don't really care what he thinks, to be honest with you. You know what I mean? No disrespect. You know, he's doing what every other rival fan's done. And it's so easy to rattle Tottenham fans. It's so easy to get Tottenham fans on board. It's so easy. We are just everyone's, you know what? You know what I'm going to say. The only reason why we're just, the only reason why, people love us is because they feel sorry for us. They feel sorry for us, and you can see why, because the way that we act, around certain things, the way that the fan base act, we don't look at elite, and it's down to the hierarchy on that one as well. We're so interested in finances, which really, honestly, it takes my brain cells out on certain things. It takes the whole brain cells out of me, where I'm sitting there thinking, how can I get excited? How can I get excited when all I hear is finance? Even after the European Cup, even after the European Europa League, all I could hear about was bloody finance. That's all I could hear. And I was just like, why? Why? And then people tell me I'm bloody negative. It's just one of those things. And it goes back to why I said, and this is why I think we failed massively, director of football. There's no direction. That's the point. Because if that was Paratici right now, and again, I don't like the guy. Don't think he. I never thought. I thought Paul Mitchell was better than him all day long. I'll take Frank Arson all day long. But the guy had a mindset of thinking, well, we're bigger than this. We move on. We'll play the situations against that situation, and look for other players that are better and try and play against this situation. Play it at our game. Play it their game. Right? That's what Paratici would do, to put back in our favour, right? Knowing full well that we do need to improve on that midfield, because let's be honest here, if you saw what happened, and again, we all know, we'll talk about the friendlies later on in the show, but you can see why. You can see what Paratici would do. He would play against that situation and look at other players. He would look at. He would try and get that Palhinha deal done. He'll look at that. He'll look at Douglas Luiz. He'll look at a few players in Italy, which I can look at. I can put out right now. That, I mean, there's a Lazio midfielder, which I can't remember his name now. We could have looked at him. And I bet you right now, any money, Paratici would have looked at him. Looked at other midfielders and play against the whole premise of what Forest were doing. Because Forest knew exactly what they were doing. And unfortunately, Tottenham Hotspur hadn't, even though technically there was a release clause, there was things around it, whether it's not supposed to be given out, that's fine. Fair enough. I'm not going to get involved in that, because I think that's just all the things that just around it, which I think is just technically all this political stuff, which I don't really want to get into, because again, it gets too funny with it, and I don't find it interesting whatsoever. You know what I mean? But, I think it's just Tottenham Hotspur should have moved on. They should have moved on, looked at other players. They should have looked and moved on from other players. It's quite simple, quite easy, and that's it really for me. And again, it goes back to the hierarchy. It goes back to director of football, because you wouldn't see this from other clubs. And we missed out on some targets because of it. And I think that's where this and this will go back to why we, in the transfer market, when we're hearing from the press, and this is what's been in the press so far, when we have to sell to buy, because everyone knows why we need to sell to buy. We just need to look at the squad size, right? We need to be more ruthless. And it's not just Thomas Frank. It's not Thomas Frank. It's the hierarchy as well. They need to influence. They need to look at it as well. And there have been, let's be honest here, people were having a go at me yesterday's show on Football Heritage TV, saying I was talking absolute nonsense. Well, who was not in the side? Who was not in the side yesterday? And reportedly, Thomas Frank wanted to keep Gill. That's the guy. Gill wasn't in the side. Did you see Gill on the side? Did you see Bentancur on the side? Do you see any inkling of Bentancur in that side? Do you see any inkling of Gill on that side? And what is the difference between those two players? Tell you what the difference between those two players are. Both have got 1 year left on their deal. And you're telling me now that we can't be ruthless right now. I'll tell you a scenario right now. Moving on to something else, because I'm bored of that Morgan Gibbs White situation. That's done and dusted. Yeah, that's done and dusted. We never were ever going to have, we never had Morgan Gibbs White. We never had him. Right? He was like somewhere that, he was there. He was there if you were buying a product, was there on the till, but unfortunately, the deal didn't go through. Deal just fell through, unfortunately. That was it, done. Right? If we look at the two players that didn't play yesterday, they've only had a year left on their contract. Now, scenario right now, okay? If Bentancur, right, we keep him, right? He don't sign a new contract. Thomas Frank gets the best out of him, right? He has a good season. He has a good start to the season. He becomes a very important player at Tottenham Hotspur, right? And then January comes about. He can go off somewhere else. He's got 6 months on his contract. He can talk to any foreign other clubs. And he's just giving himself an advertisement to say, well, look at me now. I'm in really good form at the moment. He's got 6 months on his contract left. So he's sitting there thinking, oh, happy days. Oh, happy days. I don't need to sign a new contract with Tottenham. I don't need to do that. I could just wait. I could just wait now. Happy days. Happy days now. I don't need to sign a new contract for Tottenham. So unfortunately, it might push it. We have to push it right now. We have to push it because people say that if we don't, we need to get money. We haven't got that much money. We haven't got that much money. So you're risking. And same with Basuma. 1 year left on his contract. And if you want the proof, because people want the proof and facts on the table, yeah? Let's do facts. Yeah, because facts is what we want to talk about now these days, yeah? Logic is what we want to talk about now these days, yeah? That's what we want to do. That's what we want to do, don't we, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? That's what we want to do. So if we want to do that, let's talk about facts. Facts on the table, yeah? Let's do that. Let's do that right now. Let's do that for everybody that calls me every name under the sun. Let's do that. Let's do that right now, yeah? Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, let's do that. And while you're doing that, please like and subscribe to the channel as well. Like I said, put a pin on the table right now because we're getting rolling, bruv. We're getting rolling into the show because honestly, I'm on one right now. I'm on one right now, yeah, ladies and gentlemen. I'm on one right now because honestly, some of the stuff I've heard about me, telling me I'm not absolute nonsense. Oh, I'm making things up. Well, let's make things up right now. Let's show people when I was making things up. Yeah, let's make things up right now. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it right now. Yeah, and just keep on. Keep the lights up for your boy, Mr. Box Office, the main event. Yeah, let's try that right now. Yeah, I didn't realize I had that much energy. Maybe the tea actually did me a favor, didn't it? You know what I mean? Or maybe because it's not that much sunny outside, so that's a bit frustrating as well. I don't know. Maybe I do need a nightcap sometimes. You know what I mean? But you know how it is sometimes. You know how it is. But big up to everybody in the chat. Big up to everybody in the chat. Right, let me just. Unfortunately, like I say, you have to bear with me a sec here, because unfortunately, this is where technology does fail me. Here we go. There we go. Okay, right. Here we go. Big time. Here we go. Like I say, technology does fail me sometimes, but here we go. Is the evidence, is the facts, yeah, facts about this, yeah, facts. Here we go. To people that said to me, oh, he talks a load of rubbish. Well, here's the facts then, bruv. Here's the facts. Yeah, facts of people that tell me that I'm talking absolute crap. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, Bentancur, 1 year left on his contract. Here we go. Basuma, 1 year left on his contract. Yeah, what are you saying there? Yeah, Brian Will, 1 year left on his contract. And then people say, oh, we need money. Oh, so we want to lose two senior players right now, yeah? We want to lose 2 senior players right now, yeah? Big up, yeah. So we want to do that, yeah? That's going to leave us in the lurch, isn't it? You know what I mean? That's clever, isn't it? So that's the facts. That's the facts of the whole situation. And Heung-min Son, 1 year left on his contract. And you're telling me that we're going to be waiting around for them to just make a decision right now. And if they're in great form first part of the season, what do you think other clubs are going to do? They're going to look at them and think, oh, yeah, I want a bit of that. Don't sign a new contract with Tottenham. Don't sign a new contract. Just come for free. Your signing on fee will be quite a lot of money, isn't it? Just saying. So when people talk to me telling me I'm talking absolute crap, oh, we need to be ruthless. Okay, cool. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, okay, cool. You know what I mean? I don't know where we're going with this. You know what I mean? Big up to everybody who's watching, by the way. Big up to everybody. Sorry, that was just something that needs to get off my chest. Just to get off my chest. I didn't realize I had that much energy right now, because and this is why I'm doing the show today. Big up to everybody who's watching. I'm just going to go back to some of the people that are watching right now. Big up to everybody. Big up to there's 61 of you. That's absolutely insane for a little channel like mine. A small channel like mine that doesn't do a lot of streaming, that is not consistent enough. It's absolutely insane on a Sunday. And I really do appreciate the people that are watching. So I'm just going to go back to what to people just to appreciate certain people today, because we have gone through half an hour of the show, and it'd be good to talk to some of you lot that are here appreciating the main event. I'm just going to be up to Super Tottenham TV. It's so annoying. And by the way, Spurs TV, Super Tottenham TV. I think if you do your own channel, I think you do some good video. If it's you that does some of the old videos and stuff for Tottenham of old, I think there's some. I do watch some of those videos. They're very, very good. So big up to you, by the way, if it is you. It's so annoying that we've wasted 2 and a bit weeks on Morgan Gibbs White's deal, when it could have signed other players while we stood still and done nothing. Absolutely. And I think, and like I said, I think we could be missing out on the Juventus player. That looks like he's completely gone there. I can't remember his name now. If anybody can tell me, I forgot. It's just completely gone out of my head. and it's just wasted 14 days. We should have been looking at other players. Absolutely agree. Kate Ritson, big up to you, by the way, for watching. Big up to you. Big up to you. Should try and tempt Bruno from Newcastle with Morgan Gibbs White cash and a bit extra. I've got to be honest, Paul, that's just wishful thinking. I don't think he's going. I think he's very settled at Newcastle. I don't see him leaving, especially with a coach like Eddie Howe that is getting the best out of him. I think he's going to develop him even further. I think he's going to either go to a top club like Man City, a Liverpool. I do think that it's just how it is at the moment. I think that's where I think that's just wishful thinking. I think that's just in dreamland if we think we're going to get that. But big up to you, by the way. Everyone's got their different opinions, but big up to you. What is important now is how Tottenham react. Absolutely. Do the show its ambition and go for the players, or do we do the normal long game signings? Yeah, I think it's going to be the latter, what you said, Michael. We're not going to do that. We're just not going to do that at all. And I think it's just going to be the same old thing, possibly, especially the fact that I just do not believe in Johan Lang. I just think he's just I really don't believe in him. I think he's just I think that's the problem at the moment. And I was very concerned when he was staying. I have to be honest with you. I do feel that either a Prodigy needs to come back or something needs to happen, because at the moment this is just not working for me. Isn't working for me whatsoever. Mr. Box Office, did you tap Morgan's up? What do you think? Tapping up, Forest going to sue? If I'm really honest, I think it was just a lot of things at play there between the two sides. I think Nottingham Forest didn't want to look like, especially with the way Tottenham's season ended up last season, with 17th last season. Although we won the Europa League, and not everyone knows that, I don't think it looked good on their part. So I think for me that was another thing at play here as well. So I think, I altogether now, I just don't think it really. I don't think. I just think that's what happened, and I think in the background they were trying to sort it all out just so they can save face as well. So because their fan base would not been happy about it, even though certain people have said they'd rather they mind him going. So it is what it is, really, isn't it? Eze has always been the first choice, but look, like always, it looks like he's talking. Yeah, I think that's done. I think that's done. I think that's either him staying at Crystal Palace or going to Arsenal. And the way that the Arsenal's transfer window is going at the moment, the way that it's going at the moment, I think it's going to. I think they're having an absolutely fantastic window at the moment. But it does put a lot of pressure on Mikel Arteta, though. Let's not get it right. Let's not get it twisted. Absolutely not. I don't think we can. I don't think it's going to be all roses if Arteta does not win anything for Arsenal. I think a big trophy is expected from Arsenal. I think I don't think a Carabao Cup is going to suffice. I do not think it. Unfortunately for them. Especially what Tottenham did last season. I just don't think it. I don't think it can be. I don't think it's good enough. I don't think it's good enough at all. You look at the signings that Arsenal have made this season. That should be a team that should be competing to at least for a Champions League and a Premier League. Either one. Because they've got players that can compete in multiple positions. In McLeod, I forgot his name now. Michele, what is his name? I keeping on forgetting at the moment. But yeah, I do feel Arsenal need to compete. That's the main thing at the moment. I do think they really do need to win something this season, or Arteta's in under pressure. And I don't think whether they're working really well, the director of football and Arteta. I do feel in the background, this director of football might just look at it and think, I can't remember his name now. He might think if it doesn't happen, he'll be looking at other managers in the background as well. I just have that feeling, right? And that's not me having a go. I'm not that guy. I don't care what Arsenal do anymore. To be honest with you, I'm not that guy anymore. I couldn't care less. To be honest with you, maybe because now I just want to start really enjoying my team now. I'm really enjoying what I'm watching now with Tottenham Hotspurs, seeing things that I want to see, so I can regain my passion for Tottenham a little bit more, because I've kind of lost it a lot. And I'll be honest with you, that's how I feel. I've felt for quite a while with Tottenham. But yeah, big up to you, Super Tottenham TV. Yeah, I think the scouting team. Yeah, but I absolutely agree with you, Kate, and that's why I've never changed on that one. To be honest with you, big up to Matt Coping, by the way. Big up to you. Big up to you. Finai was the one who bungled the 40 million plus one for bid for Suarez. By the way, yeah. Well, that was a ridiculous thing as well, wasn't it? Absolutely ridiculous, wasn't it? Yeah, absolutely. Lynn says difference between Brighton and the Spurs model is a buying and selling club, not their model is buying and selling club, not a club who will challenge for the Premier League, and that is Brighton's model. Yeah, but they do it better than us. They do it better than us, Lynn. You know, they do it absolutely. They do it better than us. I think the only thing I think has really helped us a lot is the fact that we've got that big stadium. I think that big stadium has really helped us. Has really helped us a lot. You know, and that's it really. Bear with me 2 seconds, guys. Bear with me 2 seconds. Thank you guys for bearing me set there. But life gets in the way sometimes. Not that it's bad, but you know, there's other things that go on in my life, and that, well, Alex's life anyway. But yeah, Lynn comes back with this. Big up, by the way, big up to everybody who's watching, by the way, and giving me comments as well, because it's really helping the show, by the way. It's really appreciated, like I said. And even if you don't agree with me, I really appreciate these comments as well. Alex, until Levy concentrates on the football side and go out and buy players that compete at the highest level, nothing will change. Managers will come and go, and Spurs will fall behind. The thing is, though, Lynn, we have been told, been told that Levy's not doing any of the, is not taking any of the football decisions. It's mainly on Vinay. That's what we've been told. So, and in recent times, let's be honest here, and then again, this really scrounges my brain a lot of the time. I've got to be honest. It scrounges my brain a lot of the time, because I just feel like there is because this is where I can't. I don't like keeping on talking about the ownership, but I just feel like, you know, we always talk about the ownership as they're the ones always in. Yeah, I think what they're responsible for, and they've not done well, is the director of football. The people that they put in charge haven't been the right people, or they've not secure. You know, they've not made them, you know, secure them. Like, for instance, Paul Mitchell, Frank Arneson, you know, David Pleat, who, you know, was a bit of a Marmite, I've got to be honest, but he was, you know, in the end, he was very knowledgeable, and he got in some really good players in the end. You know, there have been others as well, and the whole Prodigy situation. Prodigy is, you can see he's got a lot about him, Prodigy. And there's some things that I don't like about him as well, and that's why I didn't like him at all. But at the moment, I would look at it and say Prodigy did have a plan. He did at least have a plan, a plan of action. And when he saw things that weren't right at the club, he said, "No, I'm sorry. This needs to change," and he saw change. You see, and I think that's where I think DV and the hierarchy have not done well whatsoever. The whole thing with Scott Munn, the Invisible Man. I mean, that was just pathetic. Then we had to bring in Ange because of him. What is the criteria of a director of football or a CEO? What is it? What is this? What is the structure? What Tottenham Hotspur want as a CEO, director of football, to control the football side of things, to make sure it's structured, where we are looking at a functional club, where we're getting the right coaches, right? And if a coach goes, we can bring them in, and a scouting system that fits the mold of what we want. Because it blows my mind that every single time, every single transfer window, it's just a circus. And I think it has to be about the director of football. And this is why we've not been successful with coaches. Like I said, Pochettino, Martin Jol, and Harry Redknapp were an anomaly. They were an anomaly. Right? And this is the thing. It's one of those things where I just don't see. I just don't see where it's going to get any better for me. I just don't. I just really, really don't. And I don't know why. I don't know why it's very difficult, to be honest with you. But it is what it is. It is what it is, and I think this is why other clubs are becoming more successful at it. If I'm really honest with you, this is the thing. I have to be honest, and I don't understand why Tottenham Hotspur have not done well at it. Really, to be honest with you. But like I say, it is what it is. It is what it is at the moment. But I mean, what's your thoughts, you guys? You know what I mean? Like I said, I'm here to hear what other people are saying, what people feel at the end of the day. Bear with me a sec, guys. But yeah. I'm here for what people say, what other people's opinions are on this. But that I think for me, that's been the ultimate thing, because I think it kind of woke me up after Postecoglou. Well, I think it was during Postecoglou's reign, because I saw what happened with Brighton, and Brighton seemed to always be in sync with every single time they lose a manager, like Graham Potter. Then the other manager, which I had, which I can't remember his name now, and then they had, then they've got the Huttler now, and it seems to be so seamless, whether they change or not. It seems to be always so seamless what they do, and it's just one of those things where I just think, why is it with a Brighton, that they are able to find clubs find managers seamlessly, and I think it's just down to the fact that they are able to, find, they've got a good director of football, and they've got a good structure behind them, and look how long Brighton have been in the Premier League for, and we're copying what they do. It's just mind blowing for me. So this is why I say what I say at the moment. And I mean, obviously, I don't know. I don't know, mate. I don't know. I really don't know at the moment. Yeah, it is what it is at the end of the day. It is what it is at the moment. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, that's all I can say on that one. Anyway, but moving on. Big up to Lynn, by the way. Big up to Lynn. So they have about 3 or 4 weeks really to back this manager. What will happen? I don't think it's about backing the manager now. I think it's just backing, trying to help Thomas Frank, with certain players that can fit into the side and what he wants to do. You know what I mean? And if it fits to what the club want, I think that's what they need to do. Really, I think that the profile player is I think Tottenham Hotspur would have not brought in Thomas Frank if he wasn't similar to what the profile player that he wants is not the similar player to what they want. There was synergy there. I don't think that would happen, Michael. I've got to be honest. I think the problem is that when we had Conte was completely different to what we needed. Like Mourinho, I think that's where we've gone wrong in certain ways, because we went for managers that were completely different to what we are as a club. If you understand what I'm trying to say, and so I think with Thomas Frank, I think there would have been a conversation, which he explained this. I think it's amazing about this at the moment, right? He explained this during his first briefing on the Tottenham Hotspur website. He said they had a conversation, and they had some good conversations, and that's why he ultimately left Brentford to come to Tottenham. So the thing is, it's proof for the pudding, because he had a conversation with Manchester United. He had a conversation with Manchester United, and with Manchester United, he said no, it's not for him. So, if he wasn't happy, he would not have left Brentford to come to Tottenham. If he wasn't happy with the conversations with Johan Lang and the hierarchy, he would have not left Tottenham Hotspur. No, would have left Brentford to come to Tottenham. He wouldn't have risked his career. He would have waited and seen to see if there was any other opportunities to go anywhere else. You see what I'm saying? So it's one of those things, really. You know what I mean? Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I have a surprise for you all. I did say I'm doing this all on my own, but this person kindly asked me if he wanted to come on, and I just felt like, you know what, it'd be good to have this conversation at the moment. So please welcome Matt to the show, and big up Matt.
How you doing, Alex?
Big up. Thank you for coming on the show. You wanted to come on and have your say. What's your thoughts so far, and how are you so far? How are you?
Yeah, listen, good. I'm good. It's the morning after the nightmare before, which is the failed bid deal for Morgan Gibbs White. No, I've just been listening to your emotive view on it this morning, and I've listened over the weekend and even last week, and I want to give you kind of some respect, because I think you've come onto some channels and obviously voiced a few of your observations or opinions, and I think at times it's been ridiculed a little bit, and I think ultimately none of us have a book of the future. All we can do is give a balanced, objective opinion on what we think we lack, what we need, and what we want. And I just kind of wanted to say, mate, respect to you for kind of going onto some channels which have a very, very strong fan base who, if you say up and they say down, their audience will automatically say down, even though the evidence might be up. So just wanted to say, keep doing what you're doing, buddy.
Yeah. Thank you, Matt. I wasn't expecting that. It's not. Yeah, because I know you've been. I know that we've disagreed on a lot of things, some things, but respect to you for that word. I mean, I really do appreciate that. I mean, it's like, for me at the moment, like I said, I mean, I've spoken enough right now. I mean, what's your thoughts at the moment? What's your thoughts at the moment in terms of what's going on at the moment?
Yeah, so my thoughts are, I was never Angie in, I was never Ange out. If I've kind of been on Stell's show quite a few times and one or two others, and all the way through, I didn't believe in this. You had to be in the Angie in or you had to be in the Ange out camp. Ultimately, I've been supporting Spurs for 50 years, and whoever the manager is, I want Spurs to win. So I just thought that towards the end, there was this playbook that you had to criticise Ange. If Ange picked a youngster, we had to criticise it. If he didn't pick a youngster, we had to criticise that. If he played Archie Gray, we had to criticise that. If he didn't play, so no matter what Ange did towards the end, it was wrong. And what I found incredible, when we won the Europa League, if you put on YouTube channels for some Spurs channels, you would not have known they support Spurs. The body language, the facial expressions it was through gritted teeth. We won. It was through gritted teeth, and then we had to go to the MO, which is the worst Man United team. We parked the bus. We couldn't get out our half. If Jose Mourinho did that, that was a Mourinho masterclass. Yeah. But because we did it and we won the final, he went against his principles, and it was a ball fest. Who cares? Who cares? Now, getting back to this transfer window, I'm not surprised. I'm not frustrated. I'm not annoyed. I'm not surprised. We've got 25 years of this movie. We've watched 25 years of it, so nothing surprises me in this transfer window. Nothing, not a thing. All that seems to happen is we dangle a few names to the press, YouTube and whatever else goes after it, whether that's Rodrigo, whether that's Morgan Gibbs White, whether that's Paulinho, whether that's Jacob Ramsey. We dangle players, we dangle a carrot. We're monitoring, we're looking at, we're interested. And all that does is it whets the appetite. I'm more interested in what we do. That's what I'm interested in. So nothing surprises me, Alex, that we've got one, what you would call first team established player through the door, which is kudos. Last season, it was Solanke. And do not forget that most of Daniel Levy's reign as chairman, we do our business the week of the end of the transfer window.
Yeah.
Let's not forget that.
Yeah.
So all this, we need our players in before pre-season tour. We need a new manager. He needs to get his methods off. He needs to get an in-sync team. None of that matters to Daniel Levy, because his playbook is let all the other clubs sign players and go after players. We'll wait to the food item with the yellow sticker on. Buy, eat on day of purchase. That is Daniel Levy's playbook. Don't forget, Van der Ven was signed 3 days before the season started. Don't forget that.
Correct.
Don't forget that. Solanke was signed the week of the season starting. Had no pre-season with Tottenham. He was parachuted into the first game against Leicester, looked rusty, didn't look match sharp, snatched at a few chances. Guess what? Social media went after him. He can't score. I'm disappointed in Solanke. Nobody looks at he missed 6 weeks of pre-season training with Spurs. Nobody looks at that. All they do is to put on the TV. The match was away at Leicester. He missed 2 chances against Leicester. Solanke, yeah, he's not the guy. All the other clubs do their signings before they go on pre-season tour. Look at Arsenal. The majority of their business is done. Done. The icing on the cake is Gyökeres. He's the icing on the cake. But Zubimendi, they've got their business done early. Even Man United. Look at Man United. That Europa League final, Alex, was supposed to be whoever wins goes off into the sunset. Whoever loses, they're in the doldrums. That was how it was billed. We won the Europa League final, yet we have behaved as a football club like we lost the final. That's hard to do, Alex. That's hard.
I think you've come to a good perspective there, which I think it's what I've said. I think this is what me and Dan's kind of come to that conclusion since we won that Europa League. That, you know, it has put a bit of a dangle on Tottenham at the moment, that, you know, we've got to now compete in the Champions League, and that we're not ready for it. We're just not ready for it. You know what I mean?
We're nowhere near ready.
Nowhere near it. You know, and we're going to be in the Super Cup in the next couple of weeks or so, and that dangle thing now of all that that expectation and all that is really drawing its head. You know what I mean? And with a manager, unfortunately, with a coach, with the coach that's got no experience of Champions League. You know, playing 2 games a week.
I was going to get onto that.
Yeah, go on.
I was going to get onto that. So the Thomas Frank, I like. You know, I watched him at Brentford. I like his demeanour. He seems very calm. He seems very assured. He seems very well thought out when he thinks before he speaks, which not a lot of Premier League managers do, especially after a result. But the question marks, and you're entitled to ask questions, and I think I can't remember what show you was on in the week, and I think you were casting reservations over him, asking questions, and I thought you was jumped on, if I'm honest. You reminded me of Zelensky in the White House with Trump. You just seem to be kind of set upon, and ultimately what I would say is, the jury's out. The jury's out on Thomas Frank because he's never managed a team in Europe. That's a fact. Now, I also understand the reply, which will be, we don't know till we find out. So we've got to give him that opportunity. And I also respect that response. But there is a question mark. How will he manage with a football match every 3 or 4 days?
Exactly.
How will he manage with Wednesday? How will he manage with Saturday? Wednesday? Tuesday? How will he manage with that at that level of competition? Now, he might be like Pochettino, who takes to it like a duck to water, because Pochettino had never managed a football club in Europe before. But we don't know. So there's got to be some sort of a question mark, you know, because ultimately at Brentford, his remit is to stay up. That's his remit. Very small transfer budget, very, very low wages, stay in the Premier League. Big tick. Pass with flying colours. But he hasn't managed a football club that's supposedly one of the top 6 in Europe and be competitive in domestic football as well. The jury's out. Theoretically, it's easier, Alex, when you've got your players on the training pitch 4, 5, 6 days of the week and you just prepare on a Saturday and a Sunday. That's technically easier. Still a difficult job to do, but it's easier than play, recover, 1 day on the training pitch, match, recover. at that level. So, I think with all the hullabaloo about Frank and he's a coach and I'm happy we've got and listen, I understand a section of the fan base who wanted Ange gone. I get it. So it was anybody but Ange for some of the fan base. So whoever came through that door, they were going to lavish with praise. They were going to lavish that person with praise, regardless who came through the door. I get it. But also don't jump down people's throats and the others who say, I'm also excited that Frank's coming through the door, but what's he going to be like playing every 3 or 4 days?
Yeah.
The scrutiny,
exactly why I say...
the scrutiny, Alex, is going to be even higher. Every word he says in every press conferences is going to be under the microscope. He hasn't had that at Brentford.
No, he hasn't. And that's the thing. I think that's why I think it's listen, I think so I do have to go to some comments because I know there's a lot of people.
Sorry, mate. Sorry.
I do appreciate you coming on, Matt. I do appreciate you coming on, and I'm not going to annoy you, obviously, because you really take your time out to come on the show today. But yeah, I do hear what you're saying. I don't agree with the whole thing about the previous manager, but I do hear what you're saying that it was a different. It didn't look like people. We felt like we won a big trophy, a massive trophy, but the season was so bad last season that it kind of
listen. You
it
cannot,
kind of how I feel. I couldn't
17th.
I try to enjoy it because you have to enjoy the moment. You know what I mean? Because you might never ever see a European Cup. You know what I mean? It's a European Cup as well. But yeah, I just think the season was so bad that it messed me up a lot. You know what I mean? I think that's why. I think it was during the parade when he said what he said. Season 3 is going to be. I just thought, no, so I can't hear that anymore.
Listen. I've got no problem with replacing Ange.
Yeah,
I had no problem with that. I don't support Ange. I support Tottenham Hotspur, and whoever comes through the door will get my 100% support. But you also have to give him, the new manager, the same scrutiny.
Yeah. That's exactly that's where we. Now you're on my. Now you are coming to my understanding there. This is the thing. If I'm gonna, because this is where I can't be a hypocrite, right? If I wasn't there for Ange from the start, I can't not behave differently with this manager. You know what I mean? Because I was the same with Pochettino. And I ended up loving Pochettino in the end. You know what I mean? Especially after the middle of the second season. He proved a lot to me then. I was like, okay, right, now I see what we're doing here. You get what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Same with Villas-Boas, his first season. I saw what he was doing. You see what I'm saying? Harry didn't need to take a lot. Martin Yole, same thing. You know what I mean? Taking a bit of time. You know what I mean? I think that's where we need to see it. We have to see it. You know what I mean? And unfortunately, I didn't see it with the last manager, unfortunately, and it grinded me so much. And I think, unfortunately, Frank is going to have to do the same thing. You know what I mean? And it's just by proxy, unfortunately, isn't it? You know what I mean? It is what it is. You know what I mean?
There's nothing wrong with that, Alex.
You know what I mean?
There's nothing wrong with that. He has to be under the same scrutiny, examination, and questions. But I think with some of the fan base, because there's this relief that Ange's gone and this person's come in, you can't question Frank. You can't, he's a coach. No, he's a coach. He's going to be better. Okay, but what about this and this? No, don't worry about it. He's just going to be better. Do you see what I'm saying? We have to scrutinize him at the same level, and he will get the same amount of praise, and he should get the same level of criticism if he doesn't perform. There's no loving for Frank or hate for Frank. There's no loving for Ange or hate for Ange. Ultimately, you're the manager of a top 6 football club. You're allowed to say, show me what you got. I think you were right to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Big up to everyone in the chat, by the way. I mean, we were up to like 60, which again is just absolutely mind-blowing for a Sunday at 1:23 in the afternoon. You could be doing other things. You know what I mean? I know it's not sunny outside, but you know, it is what it is. You know what I mean? We have had a lot of sunny weather recently anyway, so hopefully it will be for the carnival at the end of the or next month anyway. But that's another story. But yeah, big up to you. There was one comment that came up. I think it was from Lude by Levy. Good afternoon, Alex and Matt. I don't agree with everything Alex says, but he's entitled to his opinion. And just because I might not agree with some of opinions, it doesn't mean I'm right. No. I mean, what do you not agree with, Lude by Levy? I'd like to hear what you don't agree with. I'd like to hear what you don't agree with because you know, it'd be very appreciated to see whether you know what we can say on from that. You know what I mean? But big up to you for coming for your comment. Big up to you. Levy fails to realise if you have new signings bedded in early, they settle quicker and can be difference of for a few extra points. Yeah, but I think the thing is, though, I think these people are businessmen. You know, I think it goes back to the whole thing what I said yesterday. These are businessmen at the end of the day, and I've got to that point now where I just don't think they'll say things to get you on board because that's what people will do to make you feel on board. This is what big people and big companies do. They keep you on board because they know the right things to say. They put the right people in place to say the right things. It don't mean that they're actually going to do it. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean that. It just doesn't work in life, unfortunately. And unfortunately, Daniel Levy is working on the same playbook. You know what I mean? That's why he's got a Vinay in, because he's a very good talker. He's a very good talker. You can see he's a very good talker, and you know that he's got a way of connecting with the fans. But when Levy's not very good at doing that, obviously, you know what I mean? You know, because he's, you know, this is why people want him out so much. So I think there is a side of things where it's going to be business savvy. It will be business. You know, people want to make money. People saying that they want Levy to move on and Enid to move on, and then bring in somebody else that is going to be more football centric. Unfortunately, in reality, you know, if it's going to be a Saudi person, they're not coming to Tottenham just because of the football. They're coming for a business opportunity. You know what I mean? We're in London, North London. We've got a big stadium. There is a good catchment area. So they're looking at it, not just the football, they're looking at the catchment area as well, because they want to make money. It's simple as that. And that's the reality we are. You know what I mean? It's not just going to be about football. You know, and that's why we've got a multi-purpose stadium. Why other teams now are looking at that playbook and thinking, oh, we want a bit of that. We want a bit of that. You know what I mean? So like that's what they're doing at the moment. But now it's costing them even more money to do that right now. You know, they should have really done this early. You know what I mean? So I hear you. I absolutely hear you. But to be honest with you, I would be like you a few years ago, or maybe like how many years ago of that. But unfortunately, with reality, it just isn't like that. Unfortunately, it is about money. You know, people want to make money. You know what I mean? And it is about business first, rather than just the football. And that is just reality. I know that as fans, we want to be football centric, yes. But for these business people, they are all about business, making money. That's what they're all about. And that's the reality. That's why people listen to people like Sean Butler, you know what I mean, who talks a load of waffle, but I won't go there anyway. Moving on. But you know, big up to him, by the way. Big up to him. You should subscribe to his channel, Spurs Kids, the Spurs Talk Show. So I'm doing some marketing for him, so you should appreciate it. But anyway, moving on. But yeah, I mean, big up to everybody in the chat, by the way. Big up to everybody in the chat. I'll keep on doing. But as I want to move on from that, move on from the whole thing with Morgan Gibbs White. What players would you look, in your opinion, Matt, would you want instead? You should be looking at what players would you think that Tottenham should be looking at, and that you would want maybe in this transfer window?
Yeah, I think Tottenham need players that are ready to make a difference this season. I don't think we need any more projects or one for the future, or to sign and go out on loan. We need players that are going to be serious upgrades on what we have. So for me, that are players in that age group, 22 to 29, that can go in, they're battle hardened, they know how to deal with the rigors of Premier League football, because sometimes there is a fascination with sometimes players from abroad who technically are very gifted, but the adaptation to Premier League is either too long or none at all. And there's been several players, Soldado, Rebrov, we've signed very accomplished, technically gifted footballers in the past, but couldn't deal with the physicality and the repetition of football matches. Once you start hearing the player or the agent moaning about having to play over the Christmas period and that, that player is looking to get out of the Premier League. So we need to look at players that have either in the Premier League at the moment or played in the Premier League recently. So that would be players like Douglas Luiz, Paulinho. I like Anthony Robinson at Fulham.
Yeah, I like him as well, to be honest.
I think he's going to be a chunk of money, but I think we've got Udogie in the warm up yesterday, feels something and doesn't start the match. So you have to keep your eye on that. You have to keep your eye on that, and we're going to be playing every 3 or 4 days. He has not had a left back. No fault of his own, Udogie, but he hasn't had a left back breathing down his neck to take his shirt. Whether that's the manager's choice of not naming Reguilon, Ben Davies for me is not a left back, and then we got rid of Sessegnon. So it's gross negligence to be 2 seasons later and not have another left back to be able to play for Tottenham Hotspur. It's gross negligence. You look at Brighton. Before they sold that Estepin to AC Milan, they'd already signed 2.
Yeah.
They'd already signed 2. 2 was already through the door.
Yeah. And look how many people rate Estepin as well. And he's gone.
I'd have loved him. I'd have loved him. I know we've got a challenge with homegrown and so forth, and he would have caused an extra problem to our bloated, foreign squad. But he would have been perfect for Spurs, But I think Robinson, because he's born in England, isn't he? I know he's American parents and he plays for USA, but he's UK born, so I think he would qualify. But he's going to be a chunk of money. But so to answer your question, players like Paulinho, Robinson at left back. I think we need to upgrade we need a Rashford-esque attacker, someone that can play wide left or down the middle.
What about? I think you could add maybe probably Harvey Elliott to that. Probably.
No, he's not for me. He's not for me. He's not what we need. I'll rephrase that. I rate him as a footballer, but he's not what we need. That would be a typical Spurs signing. It's a typical Spurs signing.
Because I think the thing that people are a bit doubtful about him is not the man. He hasn't had the experience of being the actual guy, the actual man, like a Grealish has been before. Basically, a Grealish has been before, or a Paulinho before, or a Douglas Luiz before. I think they've had the experience of being the ultimate person that's had to put things on their shoulder and say, put it on me. You know what I mean? You know, yeah, probably you can look at it like from Harvey Elliott. He saw that maybe in the under-21 European Cup just recently happened, which I think, you know, kind of pushes it a little bit. And this is where I think, you know, I wouldn't mind him because I think he's better than what we've got at the moment. I've got to be honest.
Okay. My question with Harvey Elliott is technically he's a gifted footballer. You can see that. He's a good footballer. He's comfortable in possession. He sees the game. He paints pictures in his head. He's got good distribution. I've got no challenge with any of that. But Tottenham, we need battle-hardened soldiers. We need 2 or 3 of them to come into that team, grab people around the logo and say, this is what we're doing. I don't want the flicks. I don't want the tricks. This is what we're doing. We need an upgrade. You're
basically saying a Monster 6 or something like that. Or
we need an upgrade in the Højbjerg, a better version of Højbjerg. That's what we need. Someone that's going to grab people around the throat and say, this is what we're doing. Right? We need somebody with a little bit of magic in their boots, whether that's wide left or whether that's down the middle. Somebody like Kudus with a few more goals in their boots on the left. Because what will happen at the moment, teams will know that Kudus is the threat at the moment. Most teams will work out a plan for Kudus, right? What we need to be able to do is have multiple streams of attack. And we don't have that. We don't have that at the moment. We look quite predictable. So we need players that we cannot contain. Teams cannot contain them. We don't have that. We don't have players good in a 1v1. Odeberg is he's somebody that I think will become that player, but he's not consistent enough at the moment. That's not meaning get rid of him. That's not mean selling him, but we need an upgrade. A Song-esque, Rashford-esque that goes straight into that 11 and raises the bar. Raises the bar. Yeah, I know Solanke gets a lot of flack and he needs to improve in his goal input. I know that. But we need a 6-foot+ centre forward that's going to do a lot of the knocks and bumps and bruises and allow the flair players to play.
I hear what you're saying. I think I think that's where we've been. We've had a lot of problems with that recently. We've had a lot of problems with that recently. I think if you've seen things that have gone around, Matt, and I'm just trying to bring something up right now. Here we go. Yeah, if you see this right now, this has been our striking option. This is what we bought the last how many years? Here we go. This is what I was trying to get up earlier. And this is pretty ridiculous here. Absolutely pretty ridiculous here. This is what, ladies and gentlemen, that I was trying to bring up to you earlier. If you look at the signings we had before, Vincent Janssen, Lucas Moura, who wasn't that bad, to be honest with you, compared to what we have right now. I'll take him back all day long again. Going back to backups again, fantastic. Brian Gill, that I think he's been ruthless with.
Terrible signing.
He's been good. Richarlison, enough said. Mona Solomon, enough said.
No.
Valise, enough said. Stephen Burbank wasn't actually that bad compared to some of the players that we have currently at the moment. Couldn't hit a barn door compared to this guy. Timo Werner, Fernando Llorente wasn't that bad, to be honest with you. If you're talking about Gareth Bale, first run, great. Second run, let's be honest here, wasn't great, but you still be better than some of the players we've got, which shows you a lot. Carlos Vinicius, remember him? Remember him? Can't believe that one. That was a good one. Wilson Palacios, Mattis Tell, the below average Raheem Sterling, aka Brendan Johnson. Yeah, I mean, the only one decent at the moment that needs time is obviously Mohamed Kudus. Great business, yeah. Remember Ivan Perisic? Remember him?
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Conte played him at left back.
Exactly. And look how that worked out for us. Anyway, remember Dan Juma? Remember Dan Juma?
Awful.
Oh, that was a fascinating one, wasn't it? Honestly. Bloody hell. Honestly.
You forgot one. You forgot one, Alex.
What?
Nkudu.
Oh, yeah, Nkudu. Nkudu as well. I mean, honestly, we don't need to go there, don't we? Honestly, bloody hell.
Look,
bloody
ultimately, Alex, right? We've got a wage bill to turnover of 42%. So again, I understand you don't like the financial aspects of a discussion, and I understand that, but we have to look for parallels. We have to look for reasons why consistently Tottenham don't get the right footballers through the door. Some of it is poor scouting. Some of it is, in my opinion, Daniel Levy, I think, has used all his tokens with owners, directors of footballs and whatever else. And I think a lot of them have saved his name and number as do not answer. When they see that come up on their phone, do not answer when he rings. I think he's used all his vouchers with clubs, and they don't like dealing with Daniel Levy to buy a player or to sell a player. So I think he's becoming unapproachable. And also, it's the wages that we pay. It's the structure of how we want the deals to be done. And it's the transfer fees. And I had a conversation with Stel last week, and I worked out this is a week old, so this isn't taking into account any deals that have happened in the last 3 or 4 days. Chelsea had 32 players that they paid 35 million or more for.
Wow.
Right? Man City have 29 players that they've spent 35 million or more for. Man United had, this is before the Embremo, had 27 players. This is since the Premier League inception, had 27 players that they'd spent 35 million or more for. Liverpool, this is before the Ekitike deal, had 22 players that they'd spent 35 or more for. Arsenal had 16. Spurs had 13 players.
Oh gosh.
So it's not this isn't the KFC recipe, but what I'm saying is there is a correlation with, if you spend 35 million pounds or more often, law of averages, some of those players are going to be oven ready and ready to hit the ground running. We spend considerably less per player, and that's why we have a lot of these Brian Hills, a lot of these hit and misses and kudos. Odebert is on £25,000 a week. Dominic Solanke, who's our record transfer, is on £90,000 a week. So what agent of Dominic Solanke, what type of agent is he that he's your record transfer and he's on £90,000 a week? That shows you.
The only opposition to that, though, Matt, is that with a club, what we earn as a club, and I think Champions League is so important to us at the moment.
Yes.
At the moment, I think the opposition to that is Aston Villa, though, because when they've taken the gamble that they've taken and not able to get Champions League, and now they're in a problem with FFP and Europe as well, and they're not. They've got to sell to buy now. But don't forget,
Alex, they sold their female football team back to themselves.
Oh,
Chelsea did the same. Is it is it ethically good?
Oh no,
is it the best way? No. But ultimately, our motto is to dare is to do.
Yeah.
So would I want Tottenham Hotspur to go and do that tomorrow? Probably not. But that's, for me, that's the excuse playbook that some people will say, we're never at risk of financial fair play. We don't have to be risk of financial fair play, but 42% of your turnover, you're dangling your feet. You're too close. You're too close to the edge. Move that up to 70% of your turnover. It automatically, dramatically improves the players that you can attract to the football club. Why did Bruno join Newcastle when they were in the bottom 3 in January?
Because of money.
Why? Because of the salary that he was offered at Newcastle. He's a Brazilian playing for Lyon in France. He gives that up. Arsenal was sniffing. He gives that up to come to Newcastle because he's on £160,000 a week at Newcastle.
I mean, I do feel that because I think Newcastle at the time were below us at the time, weren't they?
The bottom 3. No. At that stage, Alex, we were top 6, top 7. This isn't last season. This is the year before.
Was that? That was with Conte, wasn't it? Was it with Conte? I think.
Yeah, this is when Kieran Trippier. They were bottom 3 in January.
Yeah,
and he left Lyon to come to Newcastle. Newcastle, not London, not Man City, not Liverpool, to Newcastle. Salary. So it doesn't guarantee every time you're going to get the best player. I'm not saying that. But when it's a 50-50 decision and someone puts her up and says, we'll give you £160,000 a week, you go, well, Tottenham are offering me 80. What are you going to do? What are you going to do?
This is why I say that the club have to be more ruthless with certain players that are on a 1 year, still have got 1 year left on their contract, and why that is frustrating at the moment as
ruthless
well.
In what way? What do you mean?
Well, what I mean by ruthless is that they've got to be decisive of what they're going to do with them. If they're going to stay, they're either got to sign them a new contract, right, or they've got to let them go, or they've got to try and get them off the books. Because if for instance, and this is what I explained with Bentancur, who's got 1 year, still 1 year left on his contract at the moment, and Basuma, if they uptake on their form because Thomas Frank finds a good role for them or improves them somehow, you know what I mean? Like a Xhaka, for instance, the way that he did his last season, right? If he does really well, like he's not like a Trent Alexander, no, but look at how good that season was with Trent Alexander last season, right? And unfortunately, he had 1 year left on his deal. You know what I mean, right? So then, when he had 6 months, it kind of really puts Liverpool in a really bad position, didn't they? You know what I mean? With all the rumours about him leaving and all that and stuff. Same with Xhaka. You know what I mean? Whether he's going to sign a new contract or not. You know what I mean? And the more likely thing is, right, they're going to leave, because if they are doing really well and they are improving, they're going to be in the background, their agent thinking, oh, you're doing really well at the moment, you're hot property at the moment, we can go out there in January when the transfer window opens, right? Or you can speak to European clubs, you know what I mean? And with the likes of Basuma, with the likes of Bentancur's well renowned in Italy. You know what I mean? You know,
it's a good audition. Yeah, I guess it's a good audition for them in the last year of their contract to put themselves in the shop window. I understand that. I think it's on Levy, because Levy normally, once that player gets to 2 years, they normally used to get extensions, Danny Rose, Dele Alli's, Ericsson's. They always would get that top up Eric Dyer. You always used to see a picture of them shaking hands over a table with an extra 2 years on. He always used to just top up their contract. So that's on Levy, like, to allow regular first teamers to get down to 1 year of their contracts. You know, I don't know if he's took his eye off the ball or he knows something we don't, but that's not Levy. Levy normally never allows an asset to be in the last year. So that might be that he's tried to get them around the table and they've probably thought, I'm all right, thanks, I'll get back to you. Yeah, I'm not sure. We'll see on that one. I think they're okay. I think Bentancur, if Bentancur's here this season, I'm not going to cry. I think he's okay. Likewise, Basuma, I think he's okay, but they certainly both could be upgraded for me.
I wouldn't be like I say, I wouldn't be too fussed if either one of them go.
I'd agree.
I think yesterday kind of proved. I know yesterday was just a friendly and it was just for fitness and minutes and stuff. But I think someone said it yesterday. Saba said it yesterday. That I'll be up to him, Football Heritage TV, and him getting to 20,000 subscribers. I think it looked very functional, and we haven't got a different profile because we've got lots of functional players at the moment, and I think that's really my problem at the moment. It's too predictable for me. Too predictable. They're kind of functional in terms of knowing what they need to do as a job. You know what I mean? There's no growth in that for me. You know what I mean? And I think that's why it worked out the way it worked out in Europa League. When you give them a job to do and they're very used to doing that job, like Basuma being a box-to-box midfielder, like Bentancur being a double pivot for Basuma, you know what I mean? And you know it works in tandem. I think it works. You know what I mean? It works to their tune. You see what I'm saying? And you see them as good players. If you see the way that Poro and Udogie are actual wing backs rather than fullbacks, you know what I mean? And actually trying to not invert, you see them as good. You know, good at what they do. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think that's where you see the best of them, but you don't have the players that have got a little bit more something more about them, a little bit more maverick sort of them. You know what I mean? That can think for themselves. You get what I'm saying? And I think that's where my problem is at the moment. I think we've been missing that for quite a while now. You know what I mean?
Just somebody, Alex, just somebody to just take the game by the scruff of the neck.
Yeah,
just get hold of the game.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
get round a few. Get round a few when they give the ball away or they don't track their runner, and get around the Fs from them and say, "This is what we do today."
Exactly.
Yeah, a midfield general. We need that person that the rest work off. They're the core source of energy. We don't have that fulcrum player that says, I am in there. Paul Ince, Roy Keane, go through the list of good teams. They've always had that midfield enforcer.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. He just gets on with his job. He gets people, points people. How many times have you seen us give the ball away or get sloppy and people just accept it? Oh, well, yeah mate, yeah, you know. You need somebody to grab him. The ball goes out for a throw in a corner. They grab someone, you know. We need some of that. What are you doing today? Get on your game.
Yeah.
We don't have enough of those in our squad.
Exactly.
You know,
that's what needs to be the focus. This next couple of weeks has to be
massive.
Because like, for me, that's where I'm losing it a little bit with it. I don't feel connected at the moment with it because I just don't feel anything. Even Burval, even though I didn't see his past, but
talented boy. He's a talented boy.
He's a talented boy, but I think it's just too much moments for me. And moments is good for a youngster like that, but unfortunately, by proxy, because of what's going on with lots of young players at the moment, they're doing more than moments. They're actually dominating games. You know what I mean? Walton is another one to say that as at the moment. You know what I mean? And he's young. You get what I'm saying? And I think it's more about men at the moment for me that can do it. And this is why I champion someone like a Grealish at the moment, because we ain't got a player like a Grealish at the moment. I don't think we have. I'm being honest with you. I know people. Listen. It's a risk. It's a risk, but I think sometimes we're taking a risk with Kudos. We're taking a risk with Kudos, and I wanted Kudos as well. Because Kudos didn't have a good season last season. But I don't know. You don't agree with that, or is it?
Look. I think that boat has sailed. I think that boat with respect to Grealish. I think the time to get Grealish was when Aston Villa were in administration, and the deal was 25 with 5 million in add-ons, and we offered 5 million up front and Josh Onoma. Villa told Tottenham where to go, and 48 hours later, Villa took over, and that deal was never ever looked at again. And for me, I want to leave that there. He's 30 very soon, in a matter of months. Extremely talented player. But he's not what we need. Tottenham need his experience, yes, but not in that position. It's all about, Alex, the spine of your team, right? Dominant goalkeeper, dominant centre half, dominant centre midfield player, and dominant striker. You don't think
Grealish can be a dominant midfield, dominant in terms of keeping the ball, keeping it, turning it over, being creative. I think for Man City, Man City is part of a team where I think he was always that player that was the maverick and the attention, really, for me. Like Maddison at the moment. Maddison hasn't really had a great. He's a good player, and I think because he's not been used right, and people always been in his space because of the way that we played under the last manager. I think we have not seen the best of him as well. You know what I mean? I think it's just because I think what Thomas Frank says, which is quite notable, is that he's trying to get players to connect with each other. Really connect with each other, and have a good connection and stuff. And I do feel that Grealish has got that sort of thing in him. I think you can see that with Kudos as well.
I'll ask you a question, Alex. Do you rate Pep Guardiola?
Yeah.
When you're 29 and you're available to leave Man City, Pep's allowing you to leave. The last player at that age he allowed to leave at that age was Sterling.
But Sterling was a different player, though. I think Sterling's a different player to Grealish. Sterling is a guy that needed his pace, and he could score goals as well. But he's lost his pace. He's lost his pace.
Pep don't miss a trick. Pep does not miss a trick.
No, he doesn't miss a trick.
No. He's meticulous in training. He don't miss a trick. If Pep is allowing Grealish to leave, pay attention.
He let Milner go, didn't he?
He would be another typical Spurs signing. 2 days before the end of the transfer window, and the PR team.
Did he let go of Milner though?
Yeah, but he's a different profile of player. Milner's industrious, he's a workhorse, different profile of player. Grealish is a flick.
Do you think he can be industrious as well, Grealish? Because I would
say different. Grealish is a maverick. Yeah, he's flicks and tricks, and his end product is not as great as you think it is. If you look at his stats, they're not as good as. There's an U and an R He gets brought down for a free kick and the crowd clap. His end product. I don't think Grealish hasn't scored more than 5 Premier League goals in about 6 years. Look at his stats.
I get you, but I
Look
do
at his
feel
stats.
that because the thing is, though, I don't think. Well, we've got Richarlison.
But he goes well.
So Richarlison falls down on the ground. He doesn't do any more than that, to be honest with you.
Listen, Richarlison can go as well. He can go as well. What I'm saying is, if you're letting go, for me, people that flatter to deceive, we're now bringing in one. You know, and someone in the chat just said he let Palmer go, but Palmer was 20, 21 years of age. I'm saying when Pep Guardiola lets you go at 29, pay attention. Pay attention.
I've got to be honest. I think yes, some way maybe he. But again, this is for the club to really figure it out for themselves and see what happens. Really.
And more importantly, Alex,
he's got the focus.
He earns £300,000 a week. When in green earth has Daniel Levy paid that salary?
No. But he also wants to get back into the England team as well, and we've got a World Cup as well next season as well. So I mean, I don't think it's any harm if I mean this is a scenario that I was brought up before, that you could have Paulinho and Grealish on loan.
But see, Paulinho's got that fire in the belly.
Yeah,
he gets after people. You know, he's infectious. It's what it's all about. The profile of player. Spurs have had too many of these flicks and tricks, and I thought you were going to get it. Oh, is it? We've had too many of those. We need 2 or 3 to come in there, get after people, and set the tone. We don't have enough of them. Leaders, winners.
So my question then is, what would be the alternative to Grealish then?
Oof. There's a question. That
you feel that it would be suitable at the moment?
Yeah. So I guess to answer your question, it depends on what position, because at Man City, he was put in the wide left. At Villa, he played just kind of in that 10 role, and he went where he wanted to at Villa. So to play for Tottenham on that wide left and come inside,
would you? Okay, someone's big up Mrs. Buddy, by the way. Big up Mrs. Bunny, by the way. Would you take Garnacho?
Over Grealish for sure. I still think there's better.
Yeah.
I still think there's better, but over Grealish for sure. I just, for me, this is a moot point because he's on £300,000 a week. You know, Son's our highest earner, who's on £190,000 a week. So how on earth is Daniel Levy going to sanction a £300,000 bid on a player who's 30, I believe, in 2 months?
Rashford dropped his weight, dropped something, I think, to go to Barcelona. Okay,
but you're asking Grealish to drop £110,000 to be a top earner.
Listen, I don't think that. I think that the reality, possibly won't happen, but. At the end of the day, at the moment, as it stands at the moment, his career is going nowhere at the moment, and he wants to get back into the England team. You know, he needs to get back into the England team. You know, I
can't see Tuchel going anywhere near Grealish. I cannot see him going anywhere near him. You got the boy at Newcastle. He was at Everton. What's his name?
Oh, what Newcastle? Everton, yeah.
Yeah, he was at Everton. He's gone to Newcastle.
I forgot his name now. Oh, yeah. No.
All of them are ahead of Grealish. All of them are ahead of Grealish in that position.
I know. I think I know who you're talking about, though. I think I know who you're talking about. I can't remember his name now.
Gordon. There you go. Gordon. Anthony Gordon. All of those. And they're getting 15, 20-minute cameos for England at the moment off the bench. So Grealish would have to go wherever he goes to get in ahead of him. And he's getting 15, 20 minutes in games. Look, I live in the Midlands. I know all about Jack Grealish. He's a very, very talented player. But does he have the fire in the belly anymore? And I think the smoke screen is, but he wants to get back in England team. Wherever he goes, he's going to... Sterling wanted to get back in England team. Since he left Man City, how's that gone for him? Pay attention. If Pep Guardiola lets you go at 29, Gundogan, he lets them players go 29, 30, 31, pay attention.
But he's still getting back though.
Yes.
Still got him back though.
Yeah,
so I mean, that
he struggled, didn't he? Gundogan struggled last season.
So that's the point. I mean, I think it's all right. I mean, yeah, he did let him go, but then he did get him back because he needed another midfielder.
Yeah, look, the Rodri injury, and so on and so on. But if you speak to some Man City fans, when he came back in that year, he'd been away at Barcelona and come back. He'd aged 3 years. His legs in the middle of the park. He couldn't get around the pitch as much. Listen, Grealish may go to Villa on loan and his local boyhood club and do very well. But Villa are a more steady team. Tottenham, in my opinion, have got too many question marks. Put Grealish in there as well. Had we have got the Dembele, Wanyama, that team, and then you get a 29-year-old Grealish, you go, yeah, okay. Cameo, no problem.
That just leads to what I say about the whole thing about what we've got at the moment. There's too many question marks about them, especially about contracts as well that are left as well at the moment. I think that's where the question mark is at the moment.
Who's this? What contract?
With the 3 players that have got only one left on their contract as well, and then with that indecision as well within the team as well, and the fact that we have to sell to buy as well. That's another thing as well, which is another issue. I do feel that this is why maybe I was wrong in the proxy of putting this straight at Thomas Frank. Maybe I was just trying to be a little more devil's advocate because everyone was praising him. But this is more on the club. You see what I'm saying? This is where the director of football comes into it as well. You see what I'm saying? Because I think the director of football has been in the club for a long time, for quite a while now, and he's kept his job as well. When Johan Lang, and he should well know that the players that have got how much left on their contract. You see what I'm saying? So, and knowing the full well who struggled with the last manager as well, and if we do have to sell to buy, it's really the responsibility of the director of football and the hierarchy to try and get this moving very quickly. You know what I mean? It might happen in the transfer window, deadline day. It might happen. It might be likely it will happen because that's the whole thing.
We play PSG in 17 days, Alex. We play PSG in 17 days. We play Arsenal on Thursday.
Yeah. I mean, Arsenal, you make a good point there. We clearly don't have to sell to buy, as we have 60 million on the table for. Yeah, but what have we done? You know what I mean? What have we done since? You know what I mean? We've been wasting 2 weeks on bloody Morgan Gibbs White. I was bored after 3 days. I was bored after 3 days, mate. You know what I mean? So, I know we're talking about it, but we're not acting like we've got the 60 million because we could have gone on and got somebody else. The Aston Villa, I forgot the midfielder, the young midfielder we could be getting. You know what I mean? Ramsey, yeah. We could go and get him. I'm not saying he's perfect. No. I think there's a lot of that needs to improve on the boy. You know what I mean? On the player. You know what I mean? But, it is what it is. You know what I mean? It's just, I don't know. Big up to everybody who's watching so far. I will be wrapping up the show soon. Again, I do thank you, Matt, for coming on. you're only I don't know how many people have come on the show recently, but yeah, you're only a minority have come on the show. Not that that's a main thing anyway, but mainly if I call myself the main event, the Professor of Truth and Entertainment, it's got to be the main event, the Professor of Truth and Entertainment only on the show, isn't it? You know what I mean? But that's how it is. You know what I mean? Because sometimes when you're on these other shows, which again I do thank you for certain people to have me on their shows, because certain people don't have me on the shows. Sometimes you got to explain all these things, and it's better to do it on your own sometimes. You know what I mean? But thank you for everybody for watching and contributing to the show. Thank you to Lord Rodney. By the way, thank you, Lord Rodney, by the way. Big up to you. Big up to you, Lord Rodney. I've been watching, by the way. Big up to Miss Bunny as well, by the way, and Archer. Big up to you. Big up to Booniverse as well. Big up to you as well. Big up to you. Big up to Ghosted. Les, big up to you as well. Big up to everybody who's watching. Sam, big up to you. Big up to you. Because I know you don't agree with me, Sam. Big up to you. But, it's good that you watch. And big up to Ruler of the Universe. Big up to you. Thank you for telling me that I got absolutely destroyed by James Flower. But if you really, really think I got destroyed by James Flower, you are really deluded. Because I wouldn't. He doesn't even get to me at all, bro. It's like a little voice talking to me. You know what I mean? Trying to get to the big voice. But unfortunately, people like that don't really get to me whatsoever. I only kind of quit because I kind of left the stream because there's only so many times I can get patronized. And I felt that patronized in that instant. So, take it for what you will. I'm going for second. I can go for second round with him. I'll go for third round with him. And he'll be a loser like always. You know what I mean? Because obviously he's getting a little bit more confidence because people invite him on different shows. You know what I mean? But unfortunately, that doesn't do nothing for me. I've had that sort of person come at me all the time. They'll always lose out every single time. So good try, Ruler. I'd like to see you more on the show. And if you've got any more points of view to try at me, please fire at me. You know what I mean? Because I'm all ears every single day. But anyway, moving on. But yeah, thank you for everybody watching the show today. And thank you for Matt for coming on the show as well. Hopefully, we will have some new news coming to you soon on Tottenham Hotspur soon. I won't be holding my breath, though. I'll have to be honest with you because you know what Tottenham are, same Spurs, different day, like they say, what Dan says. But we have to wait and see, don't we? But big up to everybody who's watching. Please like and subscribe to the show. We're heading towards 2,000 subscribers. And as always, on the day before that we get rejected again by Morgan Gibbs White and another player, are Tottenham Hotspur ever going to change? I don't think we're ever going to change. On the day that hopefully I will have my Tottenham back. Like Daniel Levy says, we got our Tottenham back a few years ago. Well, that's never going to happen, isn't it? Let's be honest, it never is going to happen. And on the day that, am I ever going to get my passion back for Tottenham Hotspur? Well, that's up to you, Tottenham Hotspur, to prove it to me right now. And as always, as we close this show, if you didn't know, get to know, support your boy, Mr. Box Office, subscribe and like, and come on, you Spurs. And we're out of here. Take care, guys. Have a good weekend. Take care.